All right, welcome, Kathe. I'm so glad that we're here today doing our interview with you for the Conscious Leadership Network Community Spotlight. Welcome. You are one of our newest members. And today we're going to have Nesha start out with just some of the questions and see where we want to go. Is there anything that you'd like to introduce yourself today, Kathe?
Well, I am Kathe Robinson Peta there, and it's just so awesome to be here. It's I've been nervous, so that's to say we're just gonna be talking, but it's just such a tremendous opportunity to be here with you all today and sharing what I do as a mindfulness life and transformation coach. And there's so much more to me, but we'll just stick to that for now. So yeah, it's just really, really wonderful to be here and ready to hit things up.
All right. Awesome. Great. So we'll let Nesha kick everything off with you today.
Lovely.
Hey, Kathe. So I'm curious, what brought you into wellness and mindfulness?
It's been a long journey, and I believe sometimes the seeds of things that we do presently have been established in us from years ago. So over 20 something years ago, I've been introduced to meditation from a friend who studied in India. And that was my first exposure to mindfulness and meditation and new age kind of music, like Yanni, who ends up being my favorite artist now. And but that was latent until over about 13 years ago when I started having a lot of chaos and stuff happen in my life and going through marriage issues and then a divorce eventually. And it became too much. I had to find something. I had to turn to somewhere. And I went to transcendental meditation, and it wasn't for me. It just so it gave me a step up to lead into what meditation is all about. But
Mhm.
it wasn't me. It was, I don't know what, if it's structured, you want to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was about to ask, what was it that wasn't for you?
Yes. But you know what, so when something doesn't really strike with your spirit, sometimes you do
Mhm.
not know what exactly it is,
Okay.
but it's just so I want to say structure, but maybe that is not exactly. It just didn't strike with me, or maybe the teacher didn't strike with me. So I started doing my own research, and I was introduced to mindfulness really in the introduction by Chopra and Oprah,
Mhm.
21 Day Challenge. And
Oh, I
for
love
now,
those.
yes. And which one is coming up soon? So I have been loyal to that because of that. So I do it twice a year, in March and October, you know. And that's how I started with Oprah. And then I started developing my own styles, my own way. And as I said, your spirit leads you, the universe leads you. And I started doing my own research, my own reading. And this resonated with me. And my children started seeing a difference. They started seeing a calm. They started to see how I manage them differently. And that was the big hit. Never turned back since then. And the journey continues from there, where it just became my passion in helping people. I moved from not really particularly liking people to being too concerned about people. I don't like people in my space. This was my space.
Right.
And then I get to start liking people a little bit too much. And where people would just stop to talk to me. Before, people thought I was unapproachable. I got that all my life. And then people just talk to me. My friends would share with me. And sometimes I'll tell myself, where did you get that knowledge from? I started surprising myself by the things I
Nice.
said. And it started from there. And I was just inspired to move from one step to the other. And I opened my spa. I don't really want to call it a spa. The name of it was Getaway Holistic Space for Healing Energies. Yeah,
Mhm.
where I had a team pretty much like this, but in a physical space. I had a masseur and I went for the best. I had a nutritionist. I had a masseuse. I had a yogi. I had a psychologist who did this. I did my life coaching as well as I integrated it with my business consulting on the side. And I
Nice.
also was going into get into a legal agreement with a midwife where we're going to do things for preterm babies and people in pregnancies, and especially young mothers, and doing yoga for early pregnancies and stuff like that. And so that's why I got into it, and the
Awesome.
journey continues.
So what does your practice look like now? Now that it's evolved, what does it look like now?
Nesha, that's a tough question. What does it look like now? It looks like all the puzzles now fitting together because the physical space was damaged in Hurricane Maria in 2017. At the point where I was getting so excited because I was expanding, I was just gotten offered a space to do retreats by someone who wanted to give up her space, and that was the next stage for me. And I was getting so excited that within a year and a half that all these paths were coming together. And so it was a barn restaurant and three smaller cabins and one main cabin on a nice little estate out in the country. And the weekend we were going to do a retreat on womb cleansing, and yeah, the hurricane came. So that was my expansion in the physical space. So now I have to take this and put it into a virtual space. And this is where I am at right now, converting everything to a virtual space. So there was a 3-year hiatus, if that's the correct word to use, where I was really finding myself again, because going from a little bit of a depression, having lost all of that, when you take all your savings and you invest in your dream, and then migrating, settling down again, everything is new again. So really starting from base. I don't want to say starting from zero because you start with all the knowledge and the experience and everything else. But it's how do you use that to project you forward. And I met you guys. Can you imagine? So you all CLN now is my lip pad where I convert all of that to a virtual space. And hopefully later down 3 years, I'm being really ambitious here. But 3 years, they say 3 years it takes for a business to come, over the startup phase. Maybe I will, maybe looking forward how I can establish that again into another physical space somewhere, or physical spaces, who knows. You just go as far as you can. I try not to put limits on myself, because what you ask for, that's what you get. I'm afraid of asking for too
Exactly.
little. Yes.
I love it. Pallas, you're up.
All right. So, okay, good. I'm not on mute. I would like to talk to you or ask you questions about your mindfulness practice, because I know that we're all in Breathe for Change together right now, but you're coming into this with your whole other level of work. And you had mentioned transcendental meditation and things to that effect. Can you expand on where you've been in your journey, maybe why you started that and how it's grown for you? What does that look like for you?
Let me see if I understand. Can you ask how my personal mindfulness journey has grown for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's at Getaway. I had a special monthly thing I call the Spark, and this was a monthly small intimate sessions with 13 people maximum, where we did wine and stuff. And at one of these sessions, I invited someone was referred to me, and that person came into my space, and I've been grateful for her ever since. And I saw how she spoke about how she overcame cancer. She's on a different path with regards to solely believe with the ancestors, in our African heritage and everything else. I'm more open to a more wider modalities. And but I looked at her. I'd already started my practice of daily meditation and doing my life coaching. But listening to her took me into a deeper realm of introspection and what exactly is my identity? What exactly do I really represent? So it had me asking myself a lot deeper questions. And so I got into chanting. And one of my favorite chants is Namyoho Renge Kyo. And this just puts me in a different space. So I do that in the mornings. And I also do Shanti Shanti Shanti, which is really, calms me down. And Saguru also has a nice one, which is Isha Kriya, you know. So for structured mindfulness practices, I do these. However, I do my own basic guided meditation. So myself, or if I'm in a space where I can't do a meditation, I go online and I get one of the mindful guided meditations. And I do my yoga as well. I haven't been consistent as I would have liked in the past couple of years. However, now that I'm before change in this program, I'm leading into developing my own yoga practice, which I started doing. I had my first session last night. I missed you guys. I sent an invitation. I was nervous, but I survived a live session for 30 minutes on restful sleep. So it was really, really weird. So that is taking me through this journey of no, I cannot not go through my day of not doing my meditation. I cannot not go to bed, even if I don't sit down, but playing my meditation and listening to it or playing some soft music to calm my body and send me off to sleep to let all this stuff. I am mindful throughout the day of what I say, what I do, because meditation and yoga, and I also walk and I'm forced to walk because I have to walk my dog twice a day. Her name is Lady Mozzarella. Yes, Lady Mozzarella, named after cheese because she looked like cheese when she was a little tot. And I get my most downloads. I call them downloads um, from the universe during those moments.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at. And then I share a lot with my girls, and they give me a lot of feedback. And sometimes I wonder, who is your mother? Where did you get so wise? Because sometimes they really say our children are our mirror images of us. They model us, and so I'm grateful for that. So I hope, did I answer your question, Pallas? That is where my mindful journey has been.
Yes.
And
No, that's
it has, yes, and it has led me to be uh this term destructive, quote unquote, person, if I want to say that, or character. Everywhere I go, I tend to disrupt. I should say a disruptor, the status quo. I hope I said this correctly because I was saying it last night to the girls, and they always correct my accent. Mommy, you always pronouncing things wrongly, so excuse my accent. Tend to give stresses on different things. My students laugh me sometimes when I pronounce their names. The other day they were teaching me how to say a word. I'm like, okay, whatever, you all know what it is. So so I would say I'm glad you're listening because you're correcting me. So yeah. So I tend to disrupt things wherever I go because I believe in being my authentic self wherever I go and whoever I am. This is who I am. I show up as who I am in the world. So this is where my practice has taken me, and I feel so happy because before I used to be so agitated and so on edge, and it's just such a great feeling to be able to be calm, to be able to get to purposefully get to this space and not allow it to happen by chance. Yeah.
right. As a coach in that area, what would you recommend for somebody who's just getting into mindfulness or exploring this avenue? How would you recommend somebody to really start out?
start with guided, start with persons that can give you some more information as to where you want to go to. Be deliberate in the things, in your goals, in where you want to go, in what you want to do, and be deliberate in practicing. So what I did for myself too, I have my mantra. It took me a couple of years to really make it as specific, but it is living deliberately in purpose, on purpose. Well, after I cut off the on purpose, because deliberately and on purpose seems to mean the same thing. So living deliberately in purpose, in conscious mindfulness. So which reminds me to be always, always, always aware of things around me. And so someone coming into this practice is do a checklist. Make your goals to start off with. Write down your goals for a week at a time and do a checklist. This is what I want to develop for this week. And so I come home. I'm working with someone right now, who a parent and her son, and one of the things she told me was, "But we are home all the time. We don't go anywhere, so we're always present." You can be present but not present. There is a difference in present and presence, you know. And so for her, I had to develop a checklist. When you come home, you leave everything by the door. Have a goal, a post somewhere. Like you're taking off your work clothes and everything else, and then you come in. You're putting on a different. Okay, take 2 breaths. You start put on a new thing. You go on, and you observe. You see the people who are in front of you. You don't just watch them. You see them, and then you take a mental note, or you have a checklist. Okay, I should go and say, how was your day? But not just how was your day just for saying its sake. Be present and listen. Eye contact, nothing else. So when we're doing something and developing a mindful purpose, we do stuff one at a time, one thing at a time. We like to, in the 80s or early 90s, it was a trend to say, or to put on your resume, I can multitask. Employers like to see that. I can multitask. But then it was my daughter who told me once, Mommy, you cannot multitask. You can only do one thing at a time. No matter how much you multitask, how many things you can do at a time. You can have 4 things on your desk, but you still end up doing one thing at a time. And for us to be mindful and to develop this mindful practice, we should give that one thing all our presence and all our attention, and then it will be more fulfilled, even though we get 2 things done as opposed to 4 things incomplete, and we can get 2 things completely done. It's more fulfilling, and it's more enriching to us, our spirit, which calms us down, and our inner selves, our inner focus, our inner goals. So in developing a mindful practice, as a summary, develop a checklist of where you want to start off. What do you want to be mindful about? Eating. I am eating. I'm going to just eat. Put down the phone. I'm going to just eat. I'm bathing. I'm just going to be bathing. And spending 2 minutes with my daughter. That's all I'm going to be doing. Spending 2 minutes with my daughter. Listening to her, giving her my attention. And I'm saying I'm doing this for 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes. And let the persons know, okay, I can only do this for 2 minutes. So you yourself give yourself a time span in which you operate. So it will make it easier. As I say, I'm going to be mindful for the whole day, and you're just starting off. Do things in clusters. 2 minutes for this, 2 minutes for that, 2 minutes for this. And it's a start.
I think that's some of the best advice I've ever been given. That is a very different perspective, because so many people go into it thinking, I have to zen out and sit cross-legged and do the whatever. And that's not what it's about. Like, that's way down the road.
Right. I can't even zen out and sit cross-legged for too long. Before, I used to be able to do an hour, 2 hours and do this. But now if I go 2 hours, I fall asleep. But my body is just so relaxed,
Yeah.
and but mindfulness is not only about sitting cross-legged, as you said. Mindfulness is your lifestyle. It's not that's why we call it a practice. It's how you live your life, to be constantly in awareness of who you are as a person, awareness of what's happening in your environment, in your atmosphere, and being able to get downloads from the universe and see things for what they are.
Right.
So that's what it is. So to me, that's what I believe it is.
I think that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right.
you.
We'll volley over to Nesha.
Sorry, what was that?
We're going to have volley over to Nesha. It's Nesha's turn now.
Oh, it's Nisha. Nisha, I'm
Yeah.
all yours.
So you said you were talking about purpose. So what exactly is your definition of purpose?
That's an awesome, awesome, awesome question, Nisha. Purpose. Purpose is something that has been placed within your spirit to give back to humanity. That's what I believe it is. And I believe we are all born with that particular purpose. And our life journey is finding out what that purpose is. Because I believe we have to give back, because the universe is such an awesome place that has given us a lot. And there is so much to give back. And in one way or the other. So that's what I believe my definition is. What has been placed within your spirit to give back to humanity? That is the journey. Not the destination, is the journey, and finding there and doing as we go along. Because when you find out, you are obligated to do. Because there is a verse in the Bible that says, when you know the spirit tells you to do something and you don't do it, and you just haven't been beaten with it, your conscience is just, you have no peace of mind. That's what it is. You I can't exactly remember the precise quotes, but you all are both nodding, so I know you all know what I'm talking about. Um so being whipped by the spirit, it's not whipped, there's a grieving the Holy Spirit. That is what it's called. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit. So for me, it's something has been placed within you to accomplish. This is your goal. Goal equals purpose. This is your life's goal, not placed by you for you, but placed by you within the universe, by God, whoever it is for you. But that has been ingrained in you from birth, because all of us have a particular path that we need to take. We have many options, but there is a particular path that each of us have to take or must take. That's why a lot of parents try to live through their children or force them to take a particular path, because um, some jobs have starters. It's not for you to decide what the child has to do. It's for the child to decide, because it's only the child that feels what has been placed within their spirit to do. And our job as parents are to guide that, because from time a child has been born, they have been born already with their gifts, their identity, and where they have to go. And it's our responsibility to identify within them where they have to go and guide that and channel that through where they have to go. Because if any or any person goes against what has been inbuilt within them, there's going to be a lot of resistance in the universe. There's going to be a lot of resistance within what they want to do, because that is not your flow.
Most
I
definitely.
had a lot of little issues with my daughter. I'll give an example there. She just turned 20, imagine 20. And she is a great artist. Her thing was, and I have made sure I guided that I would do anything for her to develop, go from one stage to the other. Now I bought an easel because I wanted to start drawing on big canvases. And she says, Mommy, I don't do that. I said, well, you're going to start doing that, you know, because sometimes we have to push them,
Mm-hmm.
because we see their potential and we see where they need to go. And then she says, I don't think I want to go to school to do anything in art. But she did architecture and she wanted to stop there. I said, no. So I don't want to push because, you still want to get resistance. Like, this is where your gift lies. This is going to, because life is about doing what, I just going to make a little by the way track. We tell our children, when you finish school, you will start living. We cannot do that. Life is now. And
Yes.
we see children as not children. Children are people too. They have to
Mhm.
live now. Now is the present. So for me, for my kids, they should be doing something that makes them happy.
Yeah,
That
I
that
agree with that
that goes with their
100%.
flow, right? We
Yeah.
cannot wait until we are 40 something and retiring and then we say, well, you know what, you should start doing something that makes you happy because it comes naturally. We should start
Yep.
it in our kids. So that is where I started with my children. And guess what? For all of it, I don't want to do art because this is my downtime. This is where I get my calm. I don't want to do it in school because it will be, no, it's structured. Guess what? In applying for schools, she hit a college fair and the ladies are talking to her about interior design. Guess where she's going? Uh-huh. Here we go. But all the time she couldn't decide. She couldn't decide because she's going against her flow. She's going against her purpose. So mama just lay down quietly in the background, just nudging. You sure you don't want to do art? You sure you don't want to do fine arts? I think that is perfect for you. She's going to Berkeley and going to do fine arts interior design. So
That's
she's
awesome.
quite happy about it. So this was just a little example that we need to go with flow because
Mhm.
going in flow makes our decisions so much easier.
Amen
it
to that.
makes it makes the people we associate our life with so much easier. It makes the people the universe sent into our lives, example you two, natural entrance, natural, everything just falls into place. It may take a little while, but eventually things do fall into place. So that's my definition of purpose. Short
Okay,
and
so knowing that that's your definition, what is your purpose? Like, who are you here to impact?
I just got that answer a couple of weeks ago, Nisha. I was
But
having difficulty because so many people were coming towards me, adults, families, and with the kind of thing that we do, we want to help. We think we have the world on our back and we're a savior for everybody. And I had to figure out this part, I believe, certain parts of our purpose we have to decide for ourselves, which is our niche. And sometimes when we cannot decide to, the universe decides for us. So per chance, I end up getting a teaching job because I also love working with the young people. And I've done work with young people, especially because of my daughters, and I always had little things that I wanted to do with the younger folks. When I was 23, I started a youth group in church for the young adults. And I was a youth leader, I was a youth director, I was on the church committee, oh God, just representing the youth. Um, I was involved in a lot of things and getting older, having the girls, working with them, and I working with their friends as well. And but I was torn between working with teenagers and working with adults. But this past few months, 7 months, I got a teaching job. And so you have your answer. I got a teaching job. And that has
I love
just
that.
decided it that though I still, so for the adult side, I will keep to the business aspect of it. But in terms of helping people, because our young people are suffering so much, and that's where it
Mhm.
starts. The pain body, the trauma, this is where it starts. So if we can help these, my little corner, I can help these children or the teens and the youth that come into my space, I'll be really, really honored to work with them. and to help them not to develop that level of trauma that carries them throughout the rest of their lives. So I believe that is where my purpose has taken me.
I love that. I was reading the book, what is it? Believe Bigger. And that's one of the things she talks about, your past leaves clues, or has clues that lead you to where it is that you're supposed to go. So the fact that you were able to look back and you see exactly where that path is leading, and you realize that where you are now is exactly where you're supposed to be. That's awesome.
What did you say the book name was? The Past Lives Bigger?
Oh, the book is called Believe Bigger. It's by Marshawn.
Believe. Oh my goodness. I seen the past. Believe Bigger.
Yep, by Marshawn Evans Daniels.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't believe in sticking or griping over the past, but I don't believe in forgetting it either.
Exactly.
There is this rage that goes on that says you need to forget the past. You cannot forget what has been ingrained within your system, because it is you. It is what has made you who you are today.
Yes.
And besides that, even though you try to forget, your body is not going to forget, because it's in every cell and now part of your DNA. It's not going to forget. What we do is we develop coping skills. Now, when it comes back, we know how to deal with it, and as well as use it as the building blocks, as the stepping stones.
Exactly.
I remember that situation. How do I step over it? How do I build bigger? How do I go up? How do I go up? Because it's like a ladder with different rungs on it. And for each experience in our life, it builds a rung. So if I take out that one beneath there, and then I fall there, what is going to hold me back beneath there? There's nothing to hold on to, So we have to have supports to, when we say we are hanging in there. That's the times when we're hanging in there. We're remembering that experience, but we're not going to hang in there forever, because sooner or later we're going to use where our hands are as our stepping stone and go up from there. So.
Love it. All right, Pallas, I'm turning it back over to you.
All right. Well, I think that we're actually getting towards the end here, because we're supposed to be around 30 minutes. I think really it's, Kathe, is there anything else that comes up for you that you would like to share, that you think that you would like people to know about you, or that you want people to know about? Anything that comes up that you feel is important right now?
Well, for me right now is getting out there in the world, and as you say, establishing my level of authority, and being the best parent I can be, because that's where it has begun. It began for me, and it continues for me, is being the best parent I can be, and that extends, because as I said, I am not a parent with my children and somebody else outside. Every part of me permeates in everything that I do.
Right.
Every part of me represents everything that I do. And yesterday at gym, the children say, "Oh, Miss Robinson, you're a favorite teacher." I'm like, "Yeah, you're just trying to butter me up." They say, "No, Miss Robinson, because you're chill. You're the only one who listens to us." And that is how I treat my children. If I tell them something, I explain why you need to do this, why it's important for you, what are the benefits to you. And for me, my level of authenticity, that's what I carry with me everywhere. So in everything, yes, in everything. As I said, I'm the versatile professional. Everything I do, it's me.
How does that make you feel when the kids tell you, Miss Robinson, you're the only one that listens to me?
It makes me feel that, yeah, I am in alignment with my purpose, that I am doing something that's going, I know that 20 years down the line, I may have done as a little bit thing. I've sown a little seed that will bud for them later down in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's all we hope to do, plant the seed.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's really speaking to the adults out there, your peer group, our peer group. What would you recommend to the adults that watch this and they're like, the kids think this about Miss Robinson? Like, what would you recommend to the adults out there so that they can step in to their own shoes that are in along the path that you're sharing with these kids?
That children are people too. And I told people that from since my daughter was a little baby, when some adults wanted to disrespect and say, like, no, she's a human being. Give her the respect that she deserves. It's her right. Children have a lot of issues going on. They have a lot of pain going on. And we might say are giving them everything they want in the world, but the neglect of, there is the five love languages. Each child has a love language. Each person has a love language. And we need to be aware of those things, to tune into them, to help heal their pain and to make them successful human beings. Not necessarily successful in making money and anything else, but successful as a human being, to help them also to realize what their purpose and their enlightenment is in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Simple. As
it
simple
is.
as that. Just let us breathe the life into those children. They're dying. They're really dying. So,
Nesha,
yes.
being a former teacher, how does this sit with you?
I agree 100%. You have to give them the respect that they're due, because the minute you don't, all bets are off. They won't trust you. They won't talk to you. They won't give you what you expect from them. They're going to give as good as they get. As my son says, you have to give respect to get respect. And, he's 19 years old and we still have conversations because I've instilled in him, like, this is a safe place for you to have those conversations.
Right.
And so he knows, like, when he's not in a safe space, because he's seen it, like, around me. If I'm not in a safe space, I will shut down. And he's the same way. And you just feel it. The energy is just different. So I agree 100%.
Definitely. Yeah. Lovely.
So Kathe, where can everybody find you?
CLN. Also, you can find me at Kathe-RobinsonPeta.com. And you can also find me at ibreathedeeply.com. So www.ibreathedeeply.com and Kathe-RobinsonPeta.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook. I'm developing Instagram. That's great. Yes. And yes, so these are the spaces that I can be found. And definitely join me at CLN Conscious Leadership Network.
There
You
we
all
go.
are just so awesome.
Thank you.
So I'm looking really forward to growing with you all and realizing this great leadership authority you want to establish all over the world with persons like us, and pulling others who may feel that they have some purpose but not sure how to go about doing it. Thank you, Nesha, for all the great work that you're doing. Don't want to be you. It's a lot of work. Just allowing us to, as you say, you're happy doing what you're doing. So everybody's in flow. So that works quite well.
Well, good.
Yes.
All righty.
Okay.
This has been awesome. It's been a great conversation. It was good talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I greatly appreciate it. Awesome talking to all as well.
Yes.
And continue having a great day.
You too.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. All right.